Now that you have Node.js installed, it's time to start writing some very simple demo code just to see how it works. And to do that, I've got an empty folder here, and I'm just going to type node, and that's it. And this is going to put me into the REPL interface, REPL, Run, Evaluate, Print Loop. You can think of the REPL interface as basically the same thing as the JavaScript console inside of your browser. So if you were inside of your browser and you had your developer console open, you could do hello world inside of a console.log and it would print that out. Well, you can basically do the same thing inside of Node.js. I can do console.log hello world, and you'll see that it does print out hello world essentially the same way that the browser console does. So the REPL interface inside of Node.js is roughly equivalent to the console window inside of your browser. From here, though, you have access to a lot more than just what a browser has. Of course, you don't have access to a browser directly, so you don't have things like a window object, but you do have other things available from Node.js, such as the require statement in order to load modules. Now, we'll talk about modules a little bit later, but let's do a little bit more demonstration of what Node.js can do inside of the REPL interface. For example, you can define functions. So if I wanted to say function add, give it a and b as parameters, I can go ahead and put my curly braces there, and we're going to see these dots, and that means I am inside of a block inside of the JavaScript code here. So I can do something like return a plus b, hit enter, and when I put the closing parentheses in here, it's going to return that function. It's going to set up that function inside of the environments for me. So now I can say add 1, 2, and we'll get 3 as the result. Of course, there's a lot of other things you can do inside of this REPL interface, and I often use this interface in order to debug code, in order to test out ideas, in order to do different things. For example, I constantly forget how to work with dates and times in JavaScript. So I'll open up a node interface here, and I'll do something like var d equals new date, and that will return my variable that I can then examine. So I can look at d and see that it does represent this date time. If I wanted to get the timestamp, though, I could do something more like var ts equals date.now, and that will give me the timestamp. Of course, ts is a number that represents the number of ticks since the epoch of like 1969 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, 1970, whatever it was. If you want to get out of the REPL interface, all you need to do is press Command-C or Control-C, and you'll be able to exit. So that's the basics of the REPL interface inside of Node.js. From here, you can start writing JavaScript files, which are a little bit easier to deal with because you can actually save your code and rerun it later. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Vim and edit a test.js file. And inside of this test.js file, you can write pretty much any JavaScript code that you want. Again, we can do your standard console.log hello world. And I can save this, go back to the command line, and then I can run node test.js, which will print out hello world. You can do more interesting things, such as your functions again. Function add a, b, return a plus b, hello world, console.log, add 1, 2, run this, and we see the output of 3 since we're doing the addition of 1 and 2. Now, once again, you can do pretty much any JavaScript that you want inside of this file. This is the Google Chrome V8 engine running as a command line application that you'll be able to do a lot of different things with.